Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nick is in New York. And Spence is here.
I'm in Aspen, Colorado, at
In-
my new cabin that I just picked up. Like it?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
You must
yeah.
be real strong.
I flew out on the jet.
Yeah.
And the airport was pretty crowded. I mean, there were a lot of. I mean, I had a hard time finding a parking space. I'll be here
For the
overnight and
car
come
or for
back.
the jet?
Yeah, all of the above.
Katie is traveling. She's somewhere up north, I think in Maine.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Maine got whacked.
Well,
I saw pictures from my sister lives just near Waterville, Maine. The whole downtown Waterville was like wiped out.
Underwater.
Yeah, underwater. And they
Waterville.
had she showed me pictures of her area, bridges out, roads out. Yeah. Oh, I have to show you one last thing here. It's like I'm wearing my Christmas llama t-shirt, my Christmas llama sweater.
Fa la 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 la
La,
la
la,
la.
llama. Yeah, that's right. The best that
Um,
Walmart has to offer.
Gal said he may join us at the end of the show, but he left a message and he didn't sound very good. So I doubt it. He said he didn't feel good.
Well, that spiked eggnog. I'll get to you.
That would do it, yeah. All right, our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
And Nick, there's also, I was reading about this morning, fizzy eggnog. Fizzy eggnog is where you actually, without adding extra alcohol, you ferment it and make the
really?
alcohol. Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be really good.
Like
It's
it
interesting.
becomes
a little more
like
complicated.
kombucha.
Yeah, probably.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll try it next year and report back.
So, what else is going on?
The world is falling apart in front of our eyes, but otherwise we're okay.
So you've been taking some trips this week, Spence, and other than that, you've been working?
I'm working on stuff around the house. Yeah. And, for family. I do have a couple of jobs coming up in January for some of my business computer customers getting ready for tax season. So I'm going to tell them this is my last year doing it. And they're going to have to, I'll give them all my notes, my whole gigantic file of notes on the things I've done. But I'm not available anymore.
I may have to step outside shortly. I see the leaf blowing crew is here. So I'll wait until. Huh?
Go ahead. We know how to talk.
No. I mean, I'm sure you can. I want to give Nick free time to do what he's doing also. But I'll see.
I can talk and do it. I talk for a living. It's literally my job is to piss people off and talk.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, you need a break.
yeah, it has been a nice break. It's been good not to. It's weird not following political stuff for. I guess my last show was Wednesday. Haven't really followed the news, watched anything. It's been very refreshing to say the least.
But
Does the
you
show,
go
sorry,
ahead. No, no.
does the show have like a contracted fill-in that
No,
you subscribe to, or?
nope. It is pre-produced content that I make.
I know that
So
the 106 local station, when the KCO Day isn't on in the morning, they have this One America News
yeah, America
subscription
in the
that comes on.
morning. It's
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Not great.
Nope. Me, myself, and I.
Um, Spence, what about the telly?
Oh, yeah, it's been working out okay. I've been trying to use it, make sure that I don't let it sit there for a day without using it. But uh, the there were several updates. I don't see any big differences. Um, they're going to be adding some new features. I did use it for Zoom, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
quality, yeah, the quality. Although I mean, the problem was the camera placement from where I have it set up. But I did test it for Zoom. It was good. The sound was very good. That's fun. It's interesting to hear there's a little window where the camera is, and there's a motorized door behind it that opens and closes, shutter to hide the camera. So that will open and close as you tell it to in the call. And working on, they did send me an email saying, uh, if you have a moment, please look at this list. Tell us which of these advertisers you noticed. So there was a list, and I went through the list and I clicked on the ones that I had seen that I remembered. So helping them with, I guess, with placement. So they do have, if you have nothing going on the upper screen, it will go to commercials. Um, the bottom screen, the commercials are no sound. There's small little windows on the side. There's very, you have all the weather, sports, all that stuff is up there. News stories. But on the upper screen, if you're not using it, if you're seeing the screensaver up there, it will go to commercials with sound. And it says you can disable that if you want. So far, so good. I actually sent invites to 2 other people that I know who are going to try to um, get on the list. And we're pretty sure we're going to move it downstairs. We have to do some furniture rearranging to get it to fit. But we've been talking about it. So far, so good.
Excellent. And just for a reminder for folks that are maybe just joining us, what exactly is this thing? You call it a telly. What is it?
Telly is a company that offers a free special built television. It's a 55-inch LCD. It's all one unit, 55-inch LCD, sound bar in the middle, and then a smaller, I think it's 8 or 10-inch high, full width screen on the bottom. And it's all one unit, comes with a LED backlight built into the system. And it is a television that is built to be distributed to people for free. And they say what we're doing is we're letting you benefit from the advertising that we're running. That's what finances the television, is the advertising. So the main screen, you most of the things you'll do, they do have a Zoom client built in, will be from a streaming box through an HDMI port. So you will go in on the lower screen is where you have a menu, and you can say, select the input, and you can do some other configurations there. But the upper screen would be used for your streaming service, and you could, whatever it is. And the bottom screen is set aside for other purposes, things they'll add. For example, what did I see the other day? An ad for Michael's, the craft store. And
Oh, okay.
I clicked on that, and it opened it up with sound, and it just gave you their 30-second commercial. So the good news is the commercials are not really in your face. I don't think that once the upper screen is on, that you can turn the bottom screen off, like if you don't want to see anything. That's kind of the point of having that lower screen, but it's not like flashing to distract you from watching what's on the upper screen.
It
Plus,
doesn't look
I mean,
like the Doesn't look like the window of a vape store with all
no,
the
no, no.
all the chasing
Open,
trailing lights going
Yeah, no,
around
it's not like that with, with chyrons going in different directions.
it. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not. It, um, it isn't, but we think about most of us when we're on our computer, we have so many different things going on at the same time. It's
Yeah.
not, I thought it might be weird and it really, I didn't notice it. When I'm watching content on the upper screen, I don't notice the bottom screen. So it's not a problem. Plus, you could
It's kind
probably
of
put paper over it if you wanted to.
it's kind of an interesting thing with advertising when you look at advertising as a whole, right? Before cable, you had just over the air ads baked into local channels. Then cable came out and you paid for the service and you dealt with ads. Then with streaming, there's ads on, you can have services where you pay enough and you don't see any ads. And the whole advertising market is becoming more and more interesting. Like, yeah, listening to you describe this television, it's like, well, you know what you're getting it for free. The ads aren't super intrusive, and it doesn't really bother you. Yet, if you are paying, yet you can pay $8 a month for some subscription service and still have to watch advertising.
Yeah, like Hulu.
Um, like Hulu, it's just
Yeah.
the whole thing
Which
is just
interrupts the
odd.
show,
Exactly.
to give you a minute and a half commercial.
Yeah, the whole thing is just bizarre.
So yeah, so this
How the
this could
market
be
is.
a game changer. I don't know. I don't see a lot of other people rushing out to do this yet, but it could be a complete flop, or it could be.
Well, it's going to be all about the ROI. I mean, that's what it's going to
Yeah,
come down to.
exactly.
You're
Yeah.
you're an advertiser. You spend X amount of tens of thousands of dollars a month with this company. Are you getting an ROI? And is there enough TVs in circulation where your investment is worth something?
I'm thinking that
Um,
they probably structured their offering to be just like any other channel. So for an advertiser, it's going to be, they're looking at the same metrics they would have if it was Hulu or the television. So this
Except the
could,
one thing you can say about this television versus Hulu is that these ads are a little bit more persistent, and the people seeing the ads are of a different mindset.
yeah, and they'll have, you have the ability to configure your interests.
Yeah.
So where I don't know that Hulu offers that in their advertising, just saying, well, I'd like just to see commercials about home improvement. You know, they don't offer that. So this one, when I filled out the initial setup survey, they asked me all kinds of questions about the kind of things that I do and what I'm interested in and that. So I haven't seen any, Victoria's Secret commercials yet, simply because I didn't check that box.
Hmm.
But so far, so good.
The only thing that I'm thinking about is if you are subscribing through one of those streaming services to your local stations or any TV station, you get the TV station commercials and the streaming service advertisement.
Well,
No,
You're
no,
getting
not
double
oh,
ads.
there's no way for
not
the
that's not
streaming.
true.
Yeah,
It's
there could
not?
be if you're
On
watching
local
a local live feed, you're not going to see additional things on top of that because they
so
wouldn't. How would they know how to time it?
well, so let's use that. This is the example. For example, like if you have cable, your local ABC, NBC, and CBS affiliates, there are no breaks for the cable company just because it's an over the air channel. There's no the feed is it matches the one that's over there. There are no local spots for the cable company. It's the same way on streaming. Now, cable channels, HDTV and these things that are built up and are only available on cable or streaming, yes. And you'll notice that on YouTube. You'll get the Zen break, as YouTube TV calls it, when there's a break, or you'll see an ad and you'll see a little box that says ad info pop up because it's a YouTube inserted ad. The same way that Spectrum used to inject their Spectrum One or Spectrum Mobile commercials into cable TV programming. It's the same setup, but you will not see it on local over-the-air channels that are ingested into streaming. At least not on YouTube TV. I don't know how the other ones do it.
Hmm.
But like for example, you probably never saw a Spectrum commercial on WRAL if you had Spectrum, unless they were buying advertising through WRAL, and
Yeah.
those that was seen
Yeah, because
everywhere.
it would be,
You'd never see it.
how would you coordinate it? Because then you'd be in danger if the cable company injected a commercial on top of live content. People would be pissed because they'd be missing.
Yeah.
So there would have to be a structured
Yeah,
system to do it.
and cable
Cable provides
channels
that.
cable channels have that. That's
Yeah.
built. That's part of their block for an ad break, just like radio. I mean, you listen to a radio station,
Yeah.
you get 2 minutes of local commercials and 2 minutes of national commercials. It's structured like that. There is no local and national for over-the-air television. It's just one master program feed.
And it's fun to watch when it fails because it's usually colossal fail.
Yeah, that's automation.
Yep.
Hmm. Interesting. I thought that you would get double, but you're right, Nick. Yeah.
So, what do you guys think is going to be the big hot tech thing this year? What I don't know, but I'm not aware of toys. I just, although there are probably things if I went and asked my son, my grandsons are just too young to be affected by I want that dad that they see on TV. But what do you think is out there in the adult space that's the hot thing? Or is there anything hot? Because there's so many things. It's just
I think in terms of hot items this year, I think there's a lot more folks that are getting smartwatches, whether that be an Apple Watch or a Garmin or a Fitbit or something like that. I think I've seen a lot of that stuff this year, at least on sale in the last couple of months. I have a suspicion that stuff's going to be pretty hot.
did you see the Apple story?
Yeah.
About
I
the
did, but I don't have the details. I saw it glancing and I
interesting.
never read it.
It's the heart rate monitor software.
Yeah. Here's the
They-
story.
Yeah,
Here's
hit
the
me.
story. It says that Apple said on Monday that it would pause sales of its flagship smartwatches online starting Thursday, this past Thursday. And this Thursday, I'm sorry. And at retail locations on Christmas Eve. No, so that was last Thursday.
Well, Christmas
2
Eve
months
today.
ago, 2 months ago, Apple lost a patent case over the technology its smartwatches use to detect people's pulse rate. The company was ordered to stop selling the Apple Watch Series 9 and Watch Ultra 2 after Christmas. Why after Christmas? I don't understand. That's like, okay, go ahead, get the Christmas,
Well,
It's
no,
kinda
it's got to do with whatever the terms of the legal,
Yeah.
you said whatever the terms were in
So
the
it's
legal dispute.
So it says that which could set off a run on sales of the watches in the final week of holiday shopping.
I would say it absolutely did.
The move by Apple follows a ruling by the International Trade Commission in
Ah,
October that found several Apple watches infringing on patents held by Masino, a medical technology company in Irvine, California.
You
why
mean
was
the-
this an international?
I don't know.
Why did this go international if it's a company in the United States?
It's a
That's weird.
shakedown. It's a shakedown company.
I guess they have to stop selling
Is
it
this a
everywhere.
patent troll company, Spence?
It's a patent troll.
Oh,
I
it
didn't
is?
know that.
I think so. Or
Interesting.
the patent troll lawyers are working on behalf of the.
Hmm.
They go out and try to find something. It's like the people. There are actually lawyers that drive around looking for inappropriate handicap parking spaces in front of businesses. And if it's not the right size and space and distance from the door, they go in and say they shake them down, basically.
Ambulance chasers.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it's and why now? I mean, why all of a sudden, after all the years that they've been selling this, they just suddenly woke
Well,
up?
they said that this was it happened 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago. It was the court decided that it was infringing.
Well,
I
they're
remember
believe-
with
deep pockets.
well, they probably it probably lasted for a long time. I remember talking about it sometime in the past. I mean, maybe 2 years ago, when it came out, there was talk that the sensor has something to do with another company. So it may have taken. Maybe they tried to prolong it because they figured that that company would give up. But
this
apparently,
has to be either something with the new watches or something else, because I have the first generation Apple Watch,
yeah.
and when I got it, it was already out a year, and I got it on my 21st birthday.
Did it
I mean,
have did it
I'll
have
be
the pulse thing?
it does. I'll be
Okay.
27 in February. So I mean, you're talking about a device that's 8 years. Now they could have changed the way that they're doing that, because I know they're stopping sales of the most recent generation.
Yeah, they're saying
ones.
the Series 9
Yeah.
and the Watch Ultra 2.
So that means in those watches, it is a different sort of sensor technology than, which would make sense. I mean, you're going through iterations, you find different ways
Yeah.
and better ways to do things over time. But it's just the two newest generation ones from
I
what
think
I glanced at.
what I saw was that the only one they're going to sell is the SE, is the low end watch.
Does it have
So,
that or doesn't have
yeah,
that sensor?
but I would think there's because they're still. I thought they were still selling the 8.
Well, that's what I'm
9
wondering.
is the newest. So
Yeah, they might
they
not
were
even be
selling
selling
it, so I think it's included
Hmm.
in the because of what they said. The only one they're going to sell was the SE.
Well,
I could be wrong, but that's one story I read.
yeah, they said the ruling was just about the 9 and the Ultra. Ultra 2, sorry. Yeah. Oh, well.
I have a 7 and I bought it when the 8 had come out. So I got a deal on it.
What else? What other hot items other than
Inexpensive 4K televisions.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can see if you go to Costco and you watch people carrying 55, 65-inch TV boxes out. Because you can buy one you can get a 55-inch 4K TV for like $400. Crazy prices. And now it's like it's getting to the point where the older technology is a throwaway item. Yeah, I'll buy it. It's worth a couple years. I got another one. I'll upgrade.
Well, I mean, there was a story here, something. Let me find it. Old technologies and all that, and it's a problem. Had to do with the Stadia thing. Has to
Well, that
do.
company went out of business. It's hard to say that you just threw it away. I mean, they stopped offering the service.
They were talking about the fact where I can't find it, that it's going to, if they don't do something about yeah, here it is. According to Canalys Research, Microsoft's plan to end support for Windows 10 could result in about 240 million computers being sent to landfills.
Oh, come on. Well, that's a ridiculous headline.
Well, but listen, the electronic waste from the blah, 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 that's coming from Reuters. While many PCs could remain functional for years post end of OS support, and we know that they will be, nobody's going to throw away a computer that just because of TPM or something. They're warned that demand for devices without security update could be low. Microsoft announced a plan to provide security updates for Windows 10 devices until October 2028 for an undisclosed annual price.
It's a shakedown.
Huh?
It's a shakedown.
Well, if the pricing structure for extended Windows 10 support mirrors past trends, migrating to newer PCs could be more cost effective, increasing the number of older PCs heading to scrap.
Yeah,
So,
but see,
Hire a
but the-
couple good programmers. will go to that artificial island off of England that's its own sovereign country. We'll put our servers there and we'll mirror the upgrades. So that just pay for one subscription and pull all the upgrades in and send them out to our clients. How's that sound?
I think
Nick,
the premise is ridiculous. This idea that a computer is ready for an update and you just throw it in the landfill. That is not the case at all. I mean, even businesses. Mike? How many times did Mike get to purchase older computers or the last gen computers for his
right.
work? I mean, so this notion that 250 million computers are going to end up in landfills is just bullshit. I mean, that's not the cycle of computers. They get passed down, they get sold, they get turned into home servers and pawned off on grandchildren and stuff like that. I mean, it's just the premise is ludicrous that every single Windows 10 computer that doesn't have a TPM chip is going to sit on the top
That's a
of
good point.
heaping
Yeah.
junk pile. It's nonsense. It's
Wasn't
not the
part of
upgrade
the
cycle.
wasn't part of the story that when they first talked about offering this subscription for the updates, that it was really designed for the enterprise customer, not for the
That's
home
what it should be
customer?
for.
Yeah,
And that's who
Yeah.
needs it.
that's they'll scream bloody murder if they can't get. They have an amortization schedule and a depreciation schedule for their stuff that they buy, that they're not going to want to say, oh well, that last year depreciation is gone. You won't be able to do it. That's not going to happen for a big customer of Microsoft. Microsoft has a whole bunch of lawyers. All they do is go around and sue people for infringement of licenses. So it's not the best relationship.
The other one is about Stadia.
Ah, yes, my good friends.
Stadia might be dead, but the controllers for Google's cloud-based gaming platform are still out there. With the service permanently offline, the proprietary Stadia controller threatens to fill up landfills until Google devised a plan to convert them to generic Bluetooth devices that can work on almost anything. The app to open up the controller to other devices is a web service. It's already there. It's already there.
It's been there for months.
Yeah. And it says, which previously had a shutdown date of December 2023. So it's supposed to end. I mean, if you didn't do it by now, that's it. Too bad. But that apparently isn't enough time to convert all these controllers. So the Stadia controller salvage operation will run for a whole additional year.
Perfect.
Ex-user Warrior64 was the first to spot the announcement, which says the online tool will continue running until December 31st, 2024. I mean, like you said,
But again,
it's been
framing.
What?
The framing of the story.
Yeah, well,
it's the same bullshit that was in the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna end up in landfills. Because
that's
all
what
they say.
People are listening to something like this, and that's why they do that. Yeah.
It's such fear mongering. Yes. Now, I mean, here's the reality. We live in a consumer driven society. There is a whole bunch of good stuff that is going to end up in landfills. So what are you going to do about it? You can either try and extend and what's so frustrating about it is when you look at things specifically that are being built in the tech community, like Spence was saying, I don't know if it was before the show or during the show, he's got an old laptop that he's going to try and turn into some sort of picture frame viewer for his house. It's the tech people that are keeping this crap out of the landfill, and then we're also being charged with putting too much in the landfill. It's just it's so freaking frustrating. We're the only ones providing this stuff. Look at these old computers that are 10-year-old i5 or i7 desktops that people are using for Plex servers and all this other stuff in their house. Without that stuff being created, these computers would have nothing that they would be useful for at all.
Oh,
Nothing.
absolutely. I mean,
But we still get charged with, oh, well, look at all this stuff's gonna end up in the landfill. End up in the landfill. Why not criticize Google for bringing out a crappy service that nobody wanted in developing all these devices?
you know,
Where's their responsibility? Why is it my fault?
yeah, but on the other hand, I mean, how long does it take for people? If you wanted to convert your controller to work with other stuff, you would have done it already.
They should leave it on indefinitely. Why would you have a
Yeah,
shutdown date
it's
for
not.
it?
That's what I was going to say. So
It doesn't
now,
even make any sense.
if you didn't do it, you have a paperweight. But that paperweight, maybe in a year or so or more, you say, you know what? I've got this controller. I wonder if that will work on this new program. Well, what does it take for Google to leave another website up and running just for that?
Yeah, you dedicate one or two developers
Yeah,
to make it their responsibility to keep the service up and running and call it a day.
yeah,
I think another year is fine. And you got to also remember too, and we talk about this on infections sometimes. A lot of people get this stuff like Stadia. They don't follow this thing day in and day out. They don't even know that some of the people that probably don't even know that Stadia shut down when they have the hardware because they just aren't following. They just don't track this stuff super closely. And as you noted, Amnon, they'll a year from now, 6 months from now, they'll go, "Oh man, look at this thing, this controller. Oh, it's a nice. It is. It's a really nice controller, but it doesn't work anymore. Well, what can I do about it?" And then they look it up online and see that it's already end of life. To that would not be a great
yeah.
scenario.
They have special deals on buying the controller and a pair of Google glasses.
Yeah, and a couple of end of life products.
There's a lot of these that are threatening to go in the landfill. That is actually, I mean, we forget that. Hey, what about Linux?
Precisely.
You know, yeah. So go ahead, and of course, don't. We all. You should never throw your computer out. Put it in the trash. You should always donate it to. And I'm sure that every city, every community has somebody who recycles these. And there are companies that have them uh, redone, reformatted, and all that, and do something with it and give it to people that can use it. I mean, I tell my customers when something is bad, don't throw it in the trash, bring it over here. First of
So
all,
Amnon can hold on to it for a while.
the what?
So you can hang on to it for a
Yeah,
while.
because first of all, if it's usable for somebody, I'll be able to tell. Then, yeah, you keep it and you give it to somebody, like you said, a kid or somebody who can't afford anything else. Use it. Other than that, also, a lot of people don't realize you take your computer and you put it in the trash. You have to take out the hard drive and destroy it. A lot of people don't. And
How would you? Why would you think to know to do that or
yeah,
think to
well,
do that?
that's the thing is that people don't think about it. So I said, well, if it cannot be used, then at least let's destroy the hard drive. And then there are people that actually make a living out of taking old computers that don't work, and when they have enough, they take it to the dump and they get paid for it from the not the regular dump, the one that recycles, and they get paid for it. I have a guy that comes by once a week and looks at the side right there where the trash cans are at the edge of the driveway to see if I have any hardware there. And if there's any hardware, he gets out, he picks it up, and he puts it in his car. And he says that's how he pays his bills. He's an old person. I mean, he's probably in his 70s or even more. And it's nice. Somebody is getting, and that stuff now is getting recycled to get materials out of it because the city doesn't keep it in the dump. They take it and they sell it.
Sell it. Yeah.
So it find its way to do something good. So yeah, don't put uh electronics, computers, electronics, anything, any of that stuff in the dump. That's not a good thing to do. All right.
I just emailed you.
Okay. Um, did you guys read about Beeper? Back and forth.
Now,
It's
Oh,
well,
going.
yes.
yeah, I think we covered that a couple weeks ago. Is
Yeah,
there
but
something new?
again, it's going again and again, and they're fixing it, and Apple breaks it, and they fixing it, and Apple changes their thing, and um,
Well, I've got a story here in front of me. It says Beeper is giving up on its iMessage dream. Have you seen this?
when was
Yeah, I
this?
see it.
What's the
This is 2 days ago.
well from the last? Yeah.
I'll read this if you want to go set
All
that
right.
up.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
gonna
their
go and sit.
announcement.
Yeah.
December 21st from the Beeper blog. Each time that Beeper Mini goes down or is made unreliable due to interference by Apple, Beeper's credibility takes a hit. It's unsustainable. As much as we want to fight for what we believe is a fantastic product that really should exist, the truth is that we can't win a cat and mouse game with the largest company on earth. With our latest software release, we believe we've created something that Apple can tolerate existing. We do not have any current plans to respond if the solution is knocked offline. The iMessage connection software that powers Beeper Mini and Beeper Cloud is now 100% open source. And anyone who wants to use it could continue development themselves. So they are saying, all right, this is our last software release. If Apple decides to shut this down, then they can. But that's what they're saying. And I use Beeper. I'm gonna pull up my client here this morning and see if I have an update from them
Yeah, but
anywhere.
it's no big deal because nobody uses iMessage.
Yeah, of course. Let's see.
What happened with Apple's support for other clients on iMessage? Did that ever happen?
No, and there still hasn't been a successful lawsuit to force them. And I don't know that there should be something to force them to do it. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Um, but they this I mean Beeper was doing a lot of really cool stuff with iMessage, and it's I get it from Apple's vantage point, um, but at the same time I also understand what Beeper was trying to do and is trying to do. Apple wants to keep people in their ecosystem. You can't fault the company for doing that. I mean, that's their business model. The reason that people buy, they're unequivocally, without a doubt, the reasons that people buy iPhones is for iMessage because they want to be in group chat. They want to have those features available. They want to have FaceTime. And yes, I know WhatsApp and some of these other services offer all that stuff, but it's a status symbol is not the right word to use. It's an ease of use thing that people just have coalesced behind. Nobody wants to install, and nobody's going to install a second app just to video chat with you because you don't have an iPhone when everybody else does. And they've done a masterful job at it. A masterful
But
job.
really, from an Apple user side perspective, yes, it was a little inconvenient to turn on SMS support in iMessage, but once you have it on, right, it's really not a big deal. You might
Yeah,
miss some features that you might not get with other people that aren't part of the Apple world, but it
hmm
still works.
it does.
And I have it set up where my iPad. I have two iPads, and both of them support all of my iMessaging, all of my SMS texting, and phone calls through Apple. And I don't really, yeah, my one daughter is an Android user, not not Apple. Everybody else in my family is all Apple.
Is she in group? Is there a separate group chat without her that's just iMessage?
Uh, no, because typically if you turn on send as SMS, if it's not iMessage, it automatically sends it as an SMS.
It will, but you can't do some of the features in a group chat when you've got a
Oh, yeah.
mix
Okay.
of
Yeah. Well, that's
Apple.
true. Well, we don't
Yeah.
really use that anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not a big deal.
Gotcha.
So what was Beeper's technology? Did they create like an interpretive instance for every iMessage user?
I, I don't know. I wish God was here. I don't know the technology behind that specifically, but I know the backing of the whole system was it still is a thing called Matrix, which is a chat network essentially. I know that's the backing of Beeper as a whole. I don't know exactly what powered the iMessage bridge. Now, I have been using Beeper for over a year now on my desktop, and what I use it for, and the way that I've used it is to be an iMessage bridge for my Windows PC. I don't have any Macs or any Mac OS X products. So they have a thing, Spence, and it's pretty cool. When you go into Beeper and you're trying to connect iMessage, you'll get a pop-up on your phone that some Mac Mini somewhere in Scandinavia is trying to connect to your Apple account, as I think they're doing a virtual machine instance of a Mac, which could receive your iMessages, and then they relay it to your Beeper account. It's amazing how
That's
well it works. I
interesting
mean,
because how do they deal with credentials?
well,
That's yeah.
you sync your account, and I use Beeper on my laptop when I'm having some problems with it, so I'm resyncing it. But you go through the regular Apple login process, and then you get a pop up on your screen that says, are you trying to sign in from this device? And obviously, it's a computer it's not a real computer; it's a virtual computer somewhere out of the country. You approve it, and then your messages start flowing.
Hmm.
It's pretty amazing. It's really really cool.
And really, I don't think Apple can do anything about that. I mean,
That is
technically.
Well, they can. I mean, they could find a way to make that more complicated.
Mm. Yeah, and now, I mean, did you talk about, so what's happening with Beeper now that the government is going to start looking into it if Apple is, um,
No,
Unfairly.
I didn't cover that part of it. Just covered the fact that they've released their final version, and whatever happens, happens.
yeah, they said that they're playing a whack-a-mole with Beeper Mini.
They are, and I would
Uh,
expect them to.
so it says the duel has raised questions in Washington about whether Apple has used its market dominance over iMessage to block competition and force consumer to spend more on iPhones than lower price alternatives. And then there were some senators, I don't have that story, that recommended that the um, FTC will look into it.
Where's the federal law that says that there has to be universal connectivity
Well,
between all devices?
yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at what's happening with the
But look what
um,
happened with Microsoft and Internet Explorer. Remember, they
yeah,
kind of did the same thing, and they were found. No, you can't do that, right? But as of Friday, I think there was a story that Beeper is giving up about the bridge.
Well, they're not
Oh,
giving
there it
up. They
is.
just yeah, they're not
Beeper.
giving up. They released that's the what we covered while you were gone. They released their final version of it. They open sourced it, and they
Oh,
are just they're just waiting.
I have an idea how we can fix this whole thing. Let the New York State legislature figure it out.
Oh, you're gonna talk about the
Because
Chick-fil-A thing?
yeah, because you know what? Everybody that gets on the throughway just on Sunday, they're just so upset by the fact that they can't get a Chick-fil-A sandwich on Sunday. It's like it's a human right. The United Nations says that Chick-fil-A on Sunday is a human right. So we have to fix it. So there, did you see this, Amnon?
I did not see it, but I can see that.
They're going to force Chick-fil-A that have traditionally always been closed on Sunday since the time they were founded. And at the time that they were founded, it was a business. Most businesses were closed on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying that because they have locations in the New York Thruway system in their rest areas, they force them to be open on Sundays so that people aren't disappointed that they can't get the sandwich on Sunday. Another set of victims.
Yeah. Well, it's a society. All right. So, Nick, are you ready for specials?
Yeah, give me just 1 second, and I will be. Um, could you do one story real quick? I've got to get up and plug in one of these
Oh,
AirPods
yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's giving me a low
Yeah, yeah,
battery
yeah,
warning.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
let me, Spence, if you'll talk, let me pause for a minute, and I'll
Um,
be right
Uh,
back.
uh, uh,
yeah.
don't know what to say. Uh,
You just Spence, you were involved in a car
purchase
buying, trading, and all that,
experience.
right?
Yes,
So,
yes, I was.
Chevrolet of Watsonville recently introduced a ChatGPT powered chatbot on their website that was quickly exploited by users for their amusement. Internet users like Chris Back manipulated the chatbot into agreeing to absurd terms, such
Free
as
car, right? Free
such as
car.
selling
Yeah.
a 2024 Chevy Tahoe for $1, leading
Uh,
to the chatbot removal from the site. I mean, so many people, so many companies think we have to use AI in our operation, and they are not ready for it. They don't understand the pitfalls and all that. And this is what happened. I wonder if that guy, they didn't go into, could actually get it. Says, hey, false advertising if you don't let me
maybe
get it.
there's a disclaimer to say, the deal you negotiate has to be ratified by management.
Uh,
I don't know. But yeah, I saw that story. I thought it was very good.
yeah, I
Clever.
mean,
Yeah. But,
it's fun to do it if you. I mean, obviously somebody had to know what to to say in order to get that response, and you have to understand ChatGPT in order to do that. But it's nevertheless it's funny. It's it is entertaining. Oh wow, $4. I'll bet the owners of that dealership.
well, they have to look at to say this will really increase sales.
Eh.
We sold 1,000 cars today. How much? For $1 each. Oh,
We make it on volume.
we make it a volume. Yes, yes.
Yep.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
it is absolutely ridiculous that people feel like we have to do that.
Well, it's the way it's been advertised and the way it's been talked about, and what most people's general understanding of it is that it's this great benefit that's going to make things work so much better, and it's still just garbage in, garbage out. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be programmed
Oh
by a
yeah.
human. The responses have to be learned from interaction with other people who make
There
decisions.
has to be a middleman.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can't just be. It's not sentient. It doesn't have its own consciousness. And if we wouldn't want that to happen, because who knows where it would go. So it might decide, well, this dealership is unfair. Let's give away all the cars at $1 each.
Yeah.
It could be because it's only fair. Oh well.
So Nick was up doing something. The ChatGPT in a dealership. Somebody tricked ChatGPT to sell him a car for $1.
Did it work?
We
Well,
don't know.
We don't think that is legally
They
binding, but
took the
they
they
I don't
took
think
the
so. I can
chatbot
imagine.
out, but it's funny, We're talking about how people think that they have to use the latest technology without even understanding it.
Well, I'm
Anyway,
sure the 25-year-old intern who thought thought that was a
they,
great idea
yeah,
is dealing with some of the consequences.
yeah, they took it off. They took the bot off. Anyway,
Let's do
so
it.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about crap getting thrown into the waste pile. Look at this. This is a great use of old, probably N100 based switches to make a nice little Christmas tree.
got
CDs.
plenty of lights on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, look at this. This stuff is not going in the landfill. It's sitting in the corner of an office somewhere.
And they recycled their old Cat 5 cables.
Yeah, it's probably Cat 3.
Cat 3,
Um,
yeah.
some super old cabling.
And there's
So you've
all
got
kind
that.
and
Oh yeah,
there
you got a nice little AP at the top.
yep, and ornaments and
Mice, a couple of other things on there. So
yeah.
we've got some specials today. Nothing all that crazy. Let's start it out. This is a nice little laptop. It's big. It's a 15.6 inch. So this is not unless you're okay lugging something around. It's not a small laptop. It does have a numpad. I know some people really like that if you do a lot of number stuff. This is an Asus VivoBook. The specs on this are pretty great. It's a touchscreen laptop, and it folds. I don't know if it does the. I don't know if it does I don't know if it folds back on itself or not. I think it just folds flat. Um, yeah, it's 180 degrees, so it does not reverse back on itself. You can't do the kind of upside down.
You can hold it like a
Kind of.
huge tablet.
Well, you could lay it down flat. No, you can't. So it doesn't fold back on itself.
No,
So it's
no,
just
no.
180
Yeah, but
degrees.
but you can get it flat. That's why I'm saying huge.
Yeah,
You have the
yeah, you're right.
keyboard and
So it's not a complete reversible,
yeah.
but the specs on it are pretty remarkable here. It's a 12 gen Intel i7, so it's not the newest, but it is a powerful processor. 16 gigs of RAM built into it, which is great. And a 512 gigabyte NVMe. It is running Windows 11, 429. How about that? Really powerful device for sub 450, available over at Best Buy. Save $120 on it. It's got a webcam. It's got all the stuff that you would expect to be built into a computer at this price point, backlit keyboard, all of that stuff. And again, it does have a numpad and it is large. It's 15.6 inches. So check that out. It's available over at Walmart. That's where that is. Spence was talking about a cheap TV for Christmas, and while Hisense is a cheap brand, the features on this are anything but. This is a Hisense 55-inch Hisense 4K ULED television. It's got full array local dimming. It supports HDR10 plus, Dolby Vision, and it's 240 hertz. So it's a fast refresh rate, which would make it great for gaming. And it's running Google TV. 55-inch, not the largest television in the world, but it does have a lot of really good features with some of the HDR and the full array local dimming. So blacks are actually what makes these different. Um, if you have a TV that doesn't have full array local dimming, when black is on the screen, it's more of a gray because the LED is still on. The LED is producing the black. Full array local dimming, the LED shuts off. So it's black. It's actually 100% black. There is no LED, and that's what that full array local dimming provides. And it does make a big difference when you're watching things that have rich color in them. Pretty good price, $349 for this. It's available over at Amazon. Anything on Amazon, you'll note, says that this is arriving. This will not arrive before Christmas. So none of these things you'll be able to get by tomorrow unless you're going to go to the store and pick them up. That's available at Amazon for $349, $350 for that. This next product, this is a refurb, but I don't think that's a big deal. This is a Reolink 8-channel 4K home security recording system. It comes with 4 cameras that are PoE powered. So you just run a Cat 5 or Cat 6 cable to the camera, and it provides power and obviously the data for the camera. You get a 2 terabyte hard drive built into it, and it's expandable, so you can do up to 8 channels on it. So you could add 4 more cameras to it. It's a refurb, but man, for 268, I don't know that you necessarily need a brand new one. Obviously, maybe you might the hard drive, you might say, okay, well, let me just purchase a new hard drive. I don't know that that's even the refurb part of it. This is likely just an open box, would be my guess.
Mhm.
That's why it's considered refurb, and it's being sold by them. Reolink is selling these themselves over at eBay. There is a promo code in the Slick Deals link, so make sure you click through that. 268 for a 4K
That's a
home
great
recording.
price.
It's a very
It is
good
a great
price.
price if you can deal with it being a refurb. So check that out over at eBay. Next up, for this is for Amazon Prime members, which most people are. Ugreen, they make a whole bunch of really great accessories for laptops and phones. This is their Revo dock, DOK. It's a 7-in-1 USB-C dock. It supports power delivery, of course, so you can use this as a pass-through to charge your laptop. You get an HDMI port, an additional USB-C port, a couple of USB type A ports for a keyboard or a wireless mouse receiver, and then an SD and micro SD card slot. So you get a bunch of things on this. You can, add an additional monitor, things like that. $20, pretty good for you can get cheaper docks than this, but the brand name on this, Ugreen, they make a lot of really good stuff. So you can pick that up for $20. Normally $33. So you're saving a couple bucks on that over at Amazon. Again, there is also a coupon to click for that. So use the link in the specials. This is a hell of a deal. I think I'm going to try and buy this. This is a massive speaker, and it's an Altec Lansing, which is not a bad brand. The Altec Lansing was a super popular um, speaker manufacturer back in the would you say what, 90s,
Yep.
80s and 90s. And I guess they're still around. I don't know who's making their stuff now. This is a rock box, and this thing is a pretty big portable Bluetooth speaker. It's normally $130. It's on sale for $40. I don't know if this is a liquidation of products, but I would presume, I have to say I haven't heard this thing, but this thing has got to have one hell of a uh, uh, pickup in terms of the sound and how loud it is.
How deep?
Um,
How deep is it waterproof?
it is
10 meters.
it's
I'm kidding.
IP67,
I
which
60. So
is
that's misting and spray kind of a stuff. Yeah, it's not. It's
no,
not.
IP67. I think you
Is
can
is
do
submersible?
IP,
IP67 is
yeah,
let me
65 is just kind of
let
water
me
repellent, not
Misty areas. Yeah.
67 is submersible at 3 feet for 30 minutes.
Wow.
So there's no problem putting this next to a pool. This the 6 means it is dust tight, so there is no all of the connectors where you charge it. It's got a rubber grommet so that nothing can get in, and you can submerge it for again 3 feet at 30 minutes. So definitely, this is a rugged thing. Just by the look of it, you can definitely take this outside. Um, I'm tempted. I might pick this thing up. This thing looks like it will create
I think
one
the
hell of a sound
sub,
device. And again, for
submergence capability on this is just as a precaution if you do something stupid.
correct,
yeah.
yeah. But they call it the rock box,
Yeah.
and waterproof is built into it. So definitely no problem using this. Plus, you can pair up to 50 of them together. So you
Whoa.
can if they call it it's called house party pairing, where you can pair 50 of these
You
things
need to
together.
buy 50 of them that can test it.
Yeah, well, I'll see if I can borrow the Computers 2K Now credit card, and we'll see if we can make that happen. This is available over at Walmart. My go-to for speakers, you've heard me talk about the JBL Charge series before. That's what I've used, and very happy with it. This looks like it's right up there with that. $39, a really good price over at Walmart. Next up, Xboxes, they're on sale. This is the 1 terabyte Xbox Series X. It is 349, so you're saving $150 on it. This deal is only good for the next 15 hours. So if you're going to do this, you're going to have to work on that now. But at 350 over at Best Buy and a couple of other places as well, Target and some other big box stores, these are on sale for 350, so you can check that out. This is a cool product. We've talked about similar products to this in the past. This is not a smart anything. This is it does not connect to Wi-Fi. It does not connect to your phone, but it's one of these alarm clocks that will simulate a sunrise. If you have a problem getting up in the morning with maybe you sleep with blackout curtains or something like that, this will do a simulated sunrise. And you can see based on the display of it, it's a large orb that will slowly light up. And it will also do a sunset simulator as well. This is it's called the West Clock, and it's normally $23 on sale for $8.70, available over at a Walmart. It also has a battery backup in it as well. So if the power goes out, you'll be good to go. You won't have to worry about it losing all of that
And you
stuff.
don't need to worry about sunscreen.
You do not have to worry about sunscreen either. That's not included, of course.
West Clock goes way back.
It's super old
They
brand.
were wind-up alarm clocks,
Yes.
literally. Yeah.
Cool deal for $8. If it's
Yeah.
kind of, I don't, it's not a gag gift, but if it's something you wanted to maybe try out, see if it's helpful, $8 isn't a bad investment. Plus, it's also just a regular alarm clock too. You don't have to use the features on it. 870 available over at Walmart. And finally, this is just a nice, super simple sound bar. It's an on brand. ONN is the brand for this. It's a regular 2-channel sound bar. You connect it to your TV via either RCA, optical, or aux in. It does not have Bluetooth. It does not have ARC for HDMI pass through. But you can easily connect this to any cheap television. $19, and it's available over at Walmart as well. On is their brand. ONN is Walmart's brand, and that is specials for this Christmas Eve.
Thank you, Nick.
Yipper.
They were talking about there was I think I sent it to you, something about the Xbox that they're not going to remove some stations, whatever. Did that come in the?
I don't remember seeing
Yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah. There was something about that they were going to remove a lot of stations, TV stations from Xbox, and they decided not to.
Okay.
I'm not into it, so I don't know what. I was just scanning through it. Next.
Yes.
So Microsoft has announced that it is deprecating Windows Mixed Reality, with plans to remove the feature in an upcoming release of the OS. Windows Mixed Reality was Microsoft's attempt to building out a VR ecosystem for Windows PCs, but unfortunately, this effort has been mostly inactive for a number of years. While there have been several VR headsets built for Windows Mixed Reality, most of them launched between 2017 and 2021. It's been a long while since OEM released new VR headsets for Windows Mixed Reality, likely because Steam VR is a much more successful platform with a much wider selection of games.
I mean, it's true. It's the largest marketplace.
Unfortunately, Microsoft says the deprecation of Windows Mixed Reality also includes support for using a Windows Mixed Reality headset with Steam VR. Maybe somebody will come up with a way to do it, along with the dedicated Mixed Reality Portal app which act as a launch environment for VR apps and games built for Windows mixed reality. Again, it's like you buying hardware and they kind of brick it. Why can't something like this continue to work with others? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand that, especially since there's already an app that supports it. But I'm not into gaming, so I don't know how this works out.
It is it's still kind of the Wild West. Everybody,
Yeah,
it's
but
still a growing market. You've got um, big players making headsets, and everybody's trying to compete in the realm.
these are not cheap pieces of hardware, right?
Well, they are, but they aren't, but they are. I mean, you can get a VR headset for $250, and I know
Yeah.
that's not cheap, but I mean, it's not that expensive. I mean, you can get a VR headset for cheap, and you can buy an Xbox.
Oh,
You can get the Meta Quest for 250, $300. It's cheaper than a game console, and it's self-sustained. I mean, it's one unit. You don't attach it to anything else. It just you play whatever's on the device. And then of course you've got the other headsets that you connect to a computer and you use a
right.
powerful gaming computer to do that. Um, it just depends on it depends on what you want, what you're looking for.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. For the past few years, parents, researchers, and the news media have paid closer attention to the relationship between teenagers' phone use and their mental health. Researchers such as Jonathan Haidt and Jean Twang have shown that various measures of student well being began a sharp decline around 2012 throughout the West, just as smartphones and social media emerged as the attentional centerpiece of teenage life. Some have even suggested that smartphone use is so corrosive it's systematically reducing student achievement. The writer said, I hadn't quite believed that last argument until now. Um, and I'm reading this and I'm saying, why teenagers? Smartphone made me dumber, made all of us dumber, I think, from a few points. I used to remember phone numbers. I didn't need anything. I used to just pick up the phone and dial somebody's number. I can't do that anymore. If I don't have the smartphone in my hand, I have to go look up a phone number. So it's that kind of thing. Then yesterday we were talking about this, and Hannah was saying, "Yeah, I mean, I used to be able to read maps, but I can't, and I'm the same way." Well, I don't know that I'm the same way because I didn't have to read a map, but I think I can still do it. But today's kids, give them a map and say, "Go from here to Durham by the map." They're not going to be able to figure it out because they never worked with a map.
Okay, but
I mean,
I struggle with this a little bit because you can say the same thing about every other technological advance too.
absolutely.
That's where that's where I kind of struggle with this.
All right. Well,
I mean, you can make the same argument about argument about anything else. I mean, people don't know how to write anymore because that people don't write letters, they don't write cards, they don't write for classes. Everything is typed. That's been going on. That when did computers start coming into the workplace? 25 years ago. Before that, it was typewriters.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, still, it takes. I mean, I remember when we had those phones. I mean, it started with those phones that had quick dials on them.
Sure.
desk phones. I'm not talking about smartphones. I'm talking about
Yeah.
desk, you know,
Well, yeah,
and
the preset buttons. Yeah.
yeah, and before long you forget what next number is,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of thing that it's a shame to lose that uh, ability to do that. But yeah, you know, we used to do math on a piece of paper. Now we do math
Correct.
on a calculator. Right.
Correct.
Yeah. But that's why you see with it when if an outfit like in the store, if the cash register cash register stops working, those guys cannot tell you how much you owe. They can't add it up. I'm sure there's more to it than just the thing, but or to give you how much change to give you. You know, the
You're not
cash register has to tell them.
Nothing you're saying is wrong. It's it's just that's technology makes our lives easier. And I don't mean and
Yeah,
technology does not just mean computers. I mean, you can look at
any kind of technology. Yeah,
farming equipment from the early 1900s.
yeah.
It made the lives easier for farmers. I mean, that's innovation and that's technology. Cars, automobiles, airplanes, all of this stuff
Yeah, you
has
can
made
say
life easier.
we used to walk. We don't do it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. You just have to walk up the hill back and forth,
Yeah.
uphill both directions somehow.
Let's see what else
All of
is
this stuff will normalize, by the way.
what?
All of this stuff will normalize.
Oh yeah, it
It
will.
always does. It always has. It always will.
Yeah, it'll take a little time, but it will.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. A report at the information says that AI might already be taking people's jobs at Google. The report cites people briefed on the plans and says Google intends to consolidate staff, including through possible layoffs, by assigning employees at its large customer sales unit who oversee relationships with major advertisers. According to the report, the jobs are being vacated because Google's new AI tools have automated them. The report says a future restructuring was apparently already announced at a department wide Google Ads meeting last week. There, people are already losing their jobs at Google, and probably in other places too. I mean, it's not just Google,
It's not
and
just Google what.
that's using AI to replace people.
Again, I will use my technology argument again. I mean, the typewriters cut down on the need of secretaries to follow people around all day and transcribe everything that they were saying. Computers cut down on the amount of people that were needed in the workplace to complete tasks.
Yeah,
It's all technology. It's all innovation. It all ends up normalizing. It does. I mean, look at all the jobs that have been quote unquote lost in the last 20 years due to the advancements in technology.
yeah,
It's not that the jobs were lost, they're just they changed. They're different. You don't need a row of typists at a business now to produce memos and produce information. You have a guy with a computer, he's good to go. Everybody's got a computer. What you don't need to have that anymore. You don't need to have somebody follow you around to take notes. You have voice memos on your phone.
Just have to learn to code.
Yeah, just learn to code. That's
That's all.
always the
Learn to
go-to.
code.
which is considered that phrase is considered hate speech, by
Well,
the way, somehow.
John Kerry said that. It must be true.
Yeah, crazy.
Here's a story. It says that plot twist: consulting for Deloitte is reportedly using AI to prevent layoffs. Well, I have to dig deep into that to see what that really is, but oh well.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing with this kind of technology. You can either use it and embrace it, or we're talking about this something like AI could be a generational change, and it likely will be, until the government steps in and screws it all up, which they're liable to do. But
They will, yeah.
you either use the technology or find a way to make the technology work for you, um, or you get left behind. And I don't say that in like a mean kind of way to be a jerk, but I mean that's just the reality of technology like this. You either embrace it or you don't. You have to. That's the way it is.
I you keep talking. I need to go and put something in my system. My blood sugar
Okay.
is going low.
Yeah, I think you either embrace it or you don't.
You ride the train or you don't.
I think of, and Spence, you were probably well, I know you were in this realm when it was happening. I would assume what the AI thing that we're talking about now was very similar to when computers first made their way into businesses and offices all across the United States. I'm sure it was a very, very similar reaction.
It was the first computers were there on a casual basis, but when the IBM first PC, business design PC that really took the market by storm happened, people would like stand there and look at it and go, "This is incredible," but it didn't do much, right? It had, if it wasn't for Lotus 1-2-3, the original spreadsheet program, or WordStar, a successful, what do you call it, word processing for, oh, I'm getting it wrong. It's not really word processing. It's, well, I
It
told
was.
you
It
what
was
it
a word
was.
processor,
Yeah.
a very
Well,
early
yeah,
word
early on.
processor.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't for those things, computers wouldn't have taken off, because it was the practical things to solve everyday problems that were at first. Now it's so esoteric, it goes into everything. I mean, everything has to be, numbers have to be crunched by a computer, or you're hopelessly behind.
But let me ask you this, and this is what I was trying to get at. I don't think I framed it correctly. There must have been apprehension to it, though.
Oh,
Apprehension
absolutely.
to bringing
Yeah.
computers into the office place. That's what you're seeing with AI
People
now.
were terrified of them,
Why?
because they
I mean,
thought they were going to take away their jobs.
yeah.
And it turned out that it just made, again, remember we talked about this before, it just made you more productive. And you could, without breaking a sweat, you could get so much more done for the company. It's not like you were running up and down stairs all day because of it. It made your job easier, and you could produce more. So you were a more valuable employee, that you could potentially make more money. So
And
let's
I
hope.
would guess the guys and gals early on that embraced the use of things like Lotus 1-2-3 and WordStar and some of these other applications made themselves and put themselves in a pretty strong position within those companies.
Yes, because the CFOs and the chief technology officers understood pretty much, with the big Fortune 500 companies, they could see what was going to be brought, and it wasn't brand new. I mean, you had mainframes for many years. What you saw now was the decentralization of that. Instead of having to have a bunch of green screens around, that you could access a centralized processor that would do, you were doing order entry process, you were doing some document prep and all that stuff on these big mainframes, but you were not doing it on an individual basis like you could with a PC. And you could take it home. I mean, it was hard to. I mean, I had one of the first portable IBM computers. It was a luggable, really.
Luggable. Yeah, that's the
It
phrase.
was
That's
an
a good
X
term.
it was an XP computer, an XT with a little green screen and a little keyboard on it. And you could go home and work at home. And it weighed probably, I don't know, maybe 25 pounds. It wasn't light. But yeah, it just changed the way you could work. It changed where you could be. It changed um, the power that you had. But then some people didn't understand the response. With great power comes responsibility. They didn't understand that. Oh, and I had a great instance of this. You mean you didn't back up your hard drive?
Mm.
You're running your business on this. It was a IBM microchannel Model 30. Guy comes into the repair center. When I worked in Poughkeepsie, even though I was a field tech, we were each required to come in and work a week in the repair depot because we needed to staff it. So we would be in there and people would bring their stuff in and we work on it. And so brought in this Model 30, hard drive had crashed. And when we told the guy, well, where's your backup? He goes, backup? What do you mean backup? I said, you should have all your data backed up because this is the only place where your entries sit. Oh, he was literally, I had to call the branch manager to come down. He was so upset by the fact that he said, why would IBM put so much power in the hands of untrained people that they could ruin their whole business by not backing up? Okay. Now I understand in this particular case, the guy just didn't know, but think about it. You had to have known something. You're typing the stuff into the computer. And did you really think that it was into a permanent place that could never be affected by that? You could write stuff on a piece of paper, and if you drop it in the fireplace, it's gone, right? So it's the same logic is there. So yeah, it was an interesting day. Literally had to get the branch manager to come down there and calm this guy down because he had started a business or was putting his business onto the computer, whatever that meant, and he lost everything. So, you ever have any customers like that come in, Amnon,
Mm.
who weren't aware of the fact that they should be backing up? If they were your customer, chances are they weren't that way. You would tell them. But you have anybody come in cold who a new customer and just didn't realize that they were going to lose everything if their hard drive went dead?
Many.
Yeah, that was probably one of the big learning curves. But I
Yeah.
remember going to see the very first PC. It was in a locked room. I was working in 55 Water Street, downtown Manhattan, and had a friend who was an SE, who I was what they called a CE, customer engineer. Then there were systems engineers, and then there were field engineers, so different ranks, different divisions. I worked in, at the time, office products division. And so had a friend who was an SE, so I want to show you something. Okay. Took a bunch of us into this room. We go, and literally it was under a cover. Takes the cover off. It's an original PC1. Had a green screen, and he said 2 floppy drives, and launched a program. I don't remember what it was. And he said, this is going to be the big, there hadn't been announced yet. This is going to be the big thing. And I'm like, okay. We were familiar with office products. They had word processors and that kind of stuff. I can't remember what the IBM's base product was at the time. We called it the toaster. It had like a big 10-inch floppy drive. You drop it in there and you could do word processing with it. But the concept of the personal computer to us, I knew what a 99.4A was. I knew what was that first computer, Amnon? It was all in one. It had little chiclet keys. It had a cassette deck in it.
A lot of
all in
them
one.
had cassette discs, but
Yeah,
you're
this was
talking
the
about
very first one.
Timex?
No, it was a purpose-built full metal chassis cabinet with a screen, whatever. But the point was, it wasn't computers, and Apple Macs had just just started. The Macintosh was new, just being introduced at the time.
So, I mean, the Mac came after the 9940.
Yeah, but I remember I bought a 9948 at Target in Boulder, Colorado, and brought it home. This is when we were there on a
Yeah, I mean,
temporary assignment.
and I mean, I used back then. I was a mechanic, and I was using the 9948 for my business to do the invoicing and to keep
Yeah.
a ledger. It was great. It worked,
What
and
did you
backing it
boot?
up with the cassette.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you launch the operating system from the cassette, or did you launch the operating system
No,
from a cartridge?
you had to launch the program from a cartridge and then load from the
The data,
cassette
yeah, yeah,
into it.
yeah.
I mean, it's the
The,
same thing today. I mean, when you use QuickBooks, you load QuickBooks, but it automatically loads your data. But back
the,
then, it didn't do it automatically.
the first thing I did with my 99 4A, oh, Commodore PET, that was the one that I had that had the chiclet keys and a cassette deck. Um, but the first thing I did, I had a cassette for data, and 99 4A, I typed in, and they had magazines dedicated to
Yep.
each specific computer
Yep.
that had, you would type in the Crazy Climber, and I typed it in. It was in color.
Yep.
It was amazing. I
The
mean, it was like,
99 4A had great graphics.
yes. I think I paid, and this was a
For
lot of money back then, about $249 for it.
$249 for the
Yeah.
computer, $499 for the expansion box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I might have gotten it for 200 on sale at Target. And that's why I remember buying it.
Yeah.
And
But
when
yeah,
we
and they worked, and but I don't know how we start talking about it. But back then, nobody felt threatened by a computer. I don't think,
No, you thought it was a cool thing to play with.
because
Yeah, it
you
wasn't.
needed somebody to operate it.
Yeah,
Today, the problem is you don't even need a person to operate it.
Well,
AI is
we
going. So that's why
we
I
were
think,
we were talking about that a little bit while you were gone, and there
yeah.
were people that were threatened by it because it was Spence was talking about how people did think it was going to take away their jobs, and it was going to do this, and it was going to do that.
yeah.
But
And it was, most of it was unfounded.
sure,
But there were some jobs that were more affected by it. Like you said before, Nick, the steno pool, the typewriter, people that did typing and
Mhm.
documents. If they weren't already on a word processor, when the individual PC came along at a small business, it was a big deal.
yeah,
But it did make Amnon, we said the big
Yeah, but
benefit was it made you more productive. You didn't
yeah,
necessarily lose your
I
job. You
mean,
just became more
it's
valuable.
not a, it's, I don't think it's different to type on a typewriter or on a typewriter at the time, which was electric and all that, and a word processor computer.
Yeah,
You
the
could have,
keyboards are very similar. You know,
yeah,
the
you could have gotten
clicky
trained
keyboards.
for it in one day, probably. The
Oh,
the
I remember
art is the touch typing.
some
The
of the
art is what?
old original. There's something called a memory typewriter. There was some products that IBM came out with that were Selectric based. Because what the good news with Selectric was, because the way the keyboard worked,
Oh, the
you could
Selectric.
the Selectric,
Yeah,
you could
that was
capture
that was the ribbon, right?
that had
it
a
had
ball.
Yeah,
it,
it
And there
was
was a
yeah,
ribbon. Yeah, there was a ball, but there was a ribbon. Yes, you're right.
and
and
there were two
it would push
ribbons.
into it. Yeah,
There
But
were
you could build an interface to capture the keystrokes. So if you had like
macro.
macros, but you would, Household Finance Corporation had early start-stop telecommunications devices. It was like a teletype. They call it kind of like a teletype, but it was a Selectric typewriter built into a cabinet, and it had a acoustical coupler modem, and you dial up, and it would use start-stop, which is a really early protocol for modems. And you would dial into the mothership, and you would type, and it would had a sheet feed, and you could say, "Give me this," and it would come back the other way, and it would print it for you on the piece of paper. And it was just basically a remote communications device, but it used the Selectric guts as a base to take. When I pressed the A key, it it activated, like, it might have 8 lines, eight eight specific circuits, that any combination of those represented a letter or a keystroke or a shift or whatever. So you would say, if I typed in A, it was line 1 and line 6, and that said A. And if you held the shift key down, it would be line 1, line 6, and line 10. That's an A, capital A. So they could use those electronic impulses to send them off using a protocol to talk to another computer remotely, which was very cool.
Yeah.
So the memory typewriter is the one I was going to talk about. It looked like a fat Selectric, and it had, over on the right-hand side, it had a dial. And I don't remember how many positions were on the dial. But what you would do is you would type in, you'd say record position 2, and you type something, type up the page, or you could type, like, the header as 1, and you would have the stuff that you would type in, and you'd say the body of the letter would be number 2. So if you were sending the same thing over and over again, you type in, you put the header in, you type in the address of the person, dear Fred, and then you hit position 2, and it would automatically type out the body of the letter for you. And then you get to the bottom, and you say, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. And then it was amazing.
Mail merge.
It was amazing. Yeah. And but the problem was that they would mess up. And I'm not even
Yeah.
sure if there was a way to back it up at the time. It was that backups didn't happen with the first product. So you could go in, you could type in 50 different letters or whatever the number was. And if that memory module went bad, gone.
Yeah, well,
So
it's like if your hard drive goes,
yeah,
gone.
but I don't think there was a backup though. I didn't
No.
work on that product. I knew what it was.
It's
But-
like, with a lot of people, there is no backup even today. And
there was
talking
something
about
called the MTST. Oh, go ahead.
talking about backups, remember, Nick remembers a few weeks ago when I lost the main drive on the reruns machine, and I couldn't find the backup. I know it's here somewhere, but I don't know where it is, the drive, because I don't I clone the drive. So last week, after I figured everything is working, I went ahead and I said, okay, I'm going to get a hard drive, an external drive, and back up that drive. And I'm looking at a 2 terabyte and a 1 terabyte and all that. But then I said, wait a second, I'm going to clone it. Let me go look what size drive did I put on it. So I put in a 500 gig, and I'm only using about 200 gig out of it. So I went ahead and I got a 500 gig USB drive. And I cloned it to it. Don't need anything bigger. It will never get any bigger than that. And I'm leaving it on the rack, Nick. It's on the rack. I'm not putting it anywhere, quote unquote, safe. So I'll know
backup's only good if you can find it.
Yeah, exactly. That's about a backup. Okay. The next version of Android could give you an estimate of your battery's remaining capacity, which naturally degrades over time. Android 4, and they're not talking about how full the battery is, but how good the battery is. Android 14 laid the initial groundwork for the OS to track battery health information But Android 15 could actually bring that information in front of users. This is coming from Android Authority. It could also tell you whether your device's battery has been replaced. So this is nice to know. Well, my battery doesn't is not good. It's weak. Yeah, it's a lot of people. Oh, it's chargers, so it's everything must be okay. This I don't think Apple would want to have something like this in their
Apple
computer.
has it already.
It does.
Apple's had it for a long time. Yeah, you could battery health, and you can click on it, and if you go below 90% efficiency, you can qualify for having them
Then
replace
how
your
come
battery.
so many people got in trouble with the batteries and Apple didn't want to fix it?
I don't know what I remember that, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
I had a
interesting.
I had an iPhone one time that they had a free battery replacement program for certain models
Uh-huh.
because the batteries would expand, and I took it over to have it done, which I thought it was. Oh no, you're at 92%. You have to be below 90 to qualify.
What? Yeah.
What?
Well,
But yeah, it's a feature on an iPhone that tells you the battery health basically, and you can look at the charging, and it shows you a grid graph of the charging and how efficient it is, and you can there are battery programs for charging. It'll charge to 80% and not
mm,
finish till the morning, to help.
yeah.
Work.
Yeah.
It's good. It's visual.
My
So
phone's at 86% capacity. That's the maximum capacity. Now it does, of course, it charges to 100%, but it's 86% of the battery that's
yeah,
usable.
it's you're getting down there, Nick. And that means that once it gets below a certain percentage, it tends to lose. It can lose its charge. You might be at 40 and all of a sudden go to 10
Yeah, yeah.
because you yeah.
When you get into the from what I remember of my last phone, when I got into the mid to low 70s, is when I started having problems and
Yeah.
and having issues.
I had my battery replaced on my current phone by Apple. It cost me $40,
Do
and
they
they
do
did it.
that at any place besides Apple
Oh
stores?
yeah, you can, like, the first time I tried to get it done, it was Best Buy.
But it was
They were a
through Apple
contract.
that does it?
Yeah, it's Apple authorized.
Okay, yeah,
It's
I guess
through,
that's
and
what I would need to
you
find.
could make, when you go to make an appointment, if you log into support at Apple, you can make an appointment at the Apple store or at a selected contractor, which was good.
No. All
Yeah,
right. Remember last
Yeah,
week?
I've got the 13, which came out in 2021. I've had it since then, a couple years.
yeah, look and see if you can put your serial number in and see if you qualify for replacement by Apple,
Yeah,
and you can get an app. Now you can't get a higher capacity battery through Apple though.
sure.
Some of the
Yeah,
aftermarket
I'm
stuff.
still good at 86.
Yeah.
Once it gets down to about 80, it's probably when you need to start looking at
Yeah,
a
that was when
replacement.
mine was that way, and it would be all of a sudden go from good to like 2%.
Yeah. Well, I've
Yeah,
even noticed, and this is because of the percentage. My phone will not, it doesn't drain down, but you watch your percentage, and I'll get to 1%. It'll be 1% for a while before it'll actually die because what it's calculating as the percentage that is available isn't necessarily the percentage because of how it's determining 86% or whatever it's doing. So it's got its pros and cons.
Okay.
I
Um,
just I just was
let,
looking up, going back and looking up pictures of these old machines I was talking about. The memory typewriter was a standalone device, had a dial on the side. The MTST, the magnetic tape selectric typewriter, that had a whole separate file cabinet size box that did the memory storage and tape, and the typewriter sat in a table, dedicated table in the actual table itself. Unbelievable. But I digress. Sorry.
well, um, remember last week we were talking about the fact that a lot of people see that they suddenly gained an HP printer, but they lost their own.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft has released a new software tool to remove printer software from HP that was installed without user permission on system or system need. A few weeks ago, they're talking about this affecting Windows 10 and 11. Consumer report that the updates sometimes cause problems, and Microsoft came up with a tool. You go to Microsoft and you look for it, and it says Microsoft has not disclosed the root cause of the issue. I wonder why. What's the reason for not disclosing? It's not, right?
Liability.
Yeah, but things happen. You know, I don't know. And the last thing I have here is it's interesting, but it's nothing. Like apparently, it's not new. Google's safety check feature for Chrome, which, among other things, checks the internet to see if any of your saved passwords have been compromised, will now run automatically in the background on desktop. Uh, the constant checks could mean that you are alerted about a password that you should change sooner than you would have before. Safety check also watches for bad extensions or site permissions you need to look at, and you can act on safety check alerts from Chrome three-dot menu. In addition, Google says that Safety Check can revoke a site's permission if you haven't visited it in a while. That's nice. I mean, you give a site permissions to do this and that when you go there, and then you never go there again. Why do they need that? I mean, I always say until this session is over when on the phone. I don't think you can do that on the computer, on the desktop. Unless, and I don't know, does Windows 11, because they call it an app and not, does it ask, they want permission for this, want permission for that? You guys, I
Hmm,
don't choose 11, so.
I don't remember.
I use
Okay, no.
Windows 11. What do you mean?
When on the phone, if you start something, it says it wants permission to your photos and to your files. Does it do it on
Yeah,
the
that
computer?
Into an
what you're talking about with Android, it does that.
No, this
No, he's
is
talking about installing a program. Does it ask
installing a
you to?
program and using it on the desktop,
What
not
kind of
on the
program?
computer, not on a phone, on a computer. Does
I'm
it ever ask for permissions?
Well, yeah, I mean, you press the button when you run an application that says, "Yes, do you want to give this program access to change whatever on your device?"
Oh
Windows
yeah,
doesn't
that's
have
true.
a
That's true. Yeah,
Windows doesn't have a permission systems like a phone does in
that's
terms
true.
of
Yeah.
cameras.
Well, that's what I was wondering if Windows 11, since they call them apps, if they do that. Um, Google also announced an upcoming feature for Chrome's tab groups, also on desktop. Chrome will let you save tab groups so that you can use those groups across devices, which might be handy when moving between a PC at home and a laptop when traveling.
Now, let me answer that prior question. Sorry, my AirPods are
Yeah.
dying. Um, The Yes, on the apps inside of Windows, there are permissions,
Okay.
and you can give access to sound, and you can give
Yeah.
access to contacts and to the webcam and things like that. Yes, there is a permissions-based system for that, but those are for those would be apps that are from the Windows
Yeah.
Store.
Right.
If you're running a regular exe,
No.
that permission would not be there is no. You're just essentially giving it
Okay.
full access to the computer when you're running it. So yeah, the certain things that apps that you install, yes, you do get that, and that's good. I think app based permissions are good.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was saying. On the
yeah,
Android, I don't say yes, allow it forever. I say until this session, only for this session.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, that depends on what app you're using and what you're trying to do with it.
Oh, all right. That's all I got.
All right then.
And it's this time of day, this time of week, this time of, I can't say this time
Uh,
for this year because we still,
Yeah. I will be on a plane next Sunday at this time. Um, so
why you're
I will
not
not
staying there for New Year's?
no, I want to be back home for that.
Oh,
So I've got an early morning flight. I might be able to hop in at the airport
so get
for a
it set
minute.
up on the plane.
Well, if you want to buy the Wi-Fi, I'm not. If that is your prerogative, I'll say go for it.
ask
I will not be
You
purchasing the
still have
Wi-Fi.
to pay for Wi-Fi. I thought there was something.
Yes,
depends if you're just using it to the onboard entertainment.
yeah, which
It's
isn't
free.
really Wi-Fi. I
Yeah,
mean, that's just
yeah, it's
essentially a
their own
local
internal.
media server.
Yeah, yeah, they have a local server on board.
Huh.
Yeah, if you want to do general internet browsing. Now, some like I know Delta offers free iMessage
Yeah,
and things like that, and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, but you do have to pay if you want to use the broader internet.
Streaming and stuff like
yes,
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
not.
Mhm.
But then they say you can't stream over their Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah,
You can
certain
do
things are not.
email and that, but you can't use it for. They'll block you trying to stream video
Hmm.
content. Yeah, because it's not fast enough. So, it's not Starlink yet. Hey, the last time I was on a cruise, we had a meet the captain session, and they asked about are they going to roll out Starlink to use as the internet provider on cruise ships, and they said they're already doing it. So they're not using
Man,
the fixed satellite anymore. They used to have these domes up on the top of the ship that were uh, fine tracking. That would actually lock onto the geosynchronous satellite and hold the position, but move with the waves and everything. Well, they won't have to do that anymore. And they'll get
these companies, these satellite companies had everybody by the balls
oh
for
yes,
20 plus years, and it is, I mean, it is evaporating in front of their eyes, and good, because it was not only expensive for the company,
But for the
the
consumer.
cruise line, it's also expensive for the consumer, and most of the time it sucked for everybody involved. It was terrible service for everybody involved. So I am more than okay with Elon Musk coming in and upending this industry that it seemingly hasn't innovated in 20 years. I mean, the service still blows, and it's ridiculously expensive.
Yep. But they're also probably because they had to pay a lot of money for the satellite and the service back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very expensive to
Yeah.
get on that. And
Yeah.
I would imagine Starlink is offering a much more competitive price
Yeah.
at a and better quality of service. So I'm sure airlines won't be far behind on that. I don't know if their stuff is satellite or if it's ground to airplane. I don't know what the actual setup is.
I don't know. Spence, do you know?
say it again.
No.
For airlines, or is it
It's
plane
not.
to
It's not Starlink. I
no, but
don't
I'm
know.
asking, is it plane to satellite or plane to ground for connectivity?
I think it's plane to satellite.
That's what I would have assumed, but
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't think
don't
it's
know.
ground based.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So now maybe they have the capability when they're on the ground. If they still have it, they can still provide it. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good idea. And I think there are different companies that offer it. It's not all the same, necessarily the same technology.
Yeah, the main company is called GoGo. I think that's the one that provides the internet for all of the cell companies. Actually, GoGo is air to ground.
Go, go.
That is that is what it's called. Or that's what it or maybe this is their old technology. Yeah, okay. So their original system was called A to G, and it was a 850 megahertz band where it would connect to ground stations while you were mid-flight.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yep.
All right.
So
Anything?
I think I just want to say we need to plan a road trip together, all of us, to drive down to Boca Chica, Texas, and watch the Starship take off. And we'll do a live remote from there.
No.
We know
that okay?
some. We've got a very good friend that is works over there.
Yep.
Yeah, I really need to get down there. I want to. Hopefully, I can do it within getting a good idea when it's going to happen, so I can plan it to get down there and see it. Yeah, that would be something. Wait, there's apparently they call it a Sarah 2 mission. I think that's the Air Force space plane out of Vandenberg that's coming up. I think they launched another Starlink
I'll watch it on
Falcon
TV.
9 this
I'm
morning.
fine with TV.
Yeah, not sure.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
No, just have a safe holiday.
Yep. Safe holiday and happy holiday. And don't drink and drive.
You can drive to drink.
Yeah,
you
but
can't
then
drink
you
and
stay
drive.
there.
Yeah, and then stay there.
Yeah.
You can drive somebody to drink by driving them insane, and then they have to be careful with that too.
All right. So again, have a Merry Christmas. Nick, enjoy yourself up there. Say hi to the folks.
Will do.
And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change any same password wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily political commentary show. And you can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave, or you can later on go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And even though Nick is here, he's still up there. You're still down here, right?
A modified holiday schedule.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah. Oh, so there's no selections with Nick's voice? There is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a modified
Yeah.
schedule. There's some
Yeah.
other holiday programming mixed in. So
Yep.
no new shows to the first of the year.
There's no Nick sings the Christmas hits.
It's the interesting stuff is there.
It's the best of content.
Yeah, the
correct.
best stuff. Yeah. And Tuesdays, well, Nick and Brian also do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. You need to go to infectionpodcast.com and see where it is if you want to listen to it live, or you can just download the podcast later and listen to it at your leisure. Again, have a Merry Christmas and a safe one, and we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.